2025 Cascadias, are they actually worth $165,000? And for my Canadian friends, $230,000 for these new Cascadias? Now, a lot of the marketing that goes around is that they're actually 10% more fuel efficient. Well, I'm gonna put them to the test in this video. Now, did you know that 42% of all Class 8 trucks that are sold are Freightliners? I mean, what's with all the hype? Well, let's get into it. So in this video, we're gonna give you a detailed analysis of the 2025 Freightliner Cascadia. First thing we're gonna talk about is the purchase price. Number two, we're gonna talk about the fuel consumption, where I'm actually gonna go into my analytics. I'm gonna take out these 2025s and I'm gonna compare them to the 2024s, and then you guys can be the judge if they're actually 10% more fuel efficient as they're advertised. Number three, we're definitely gonna talk about the driver's biggest complaints about the Cascadias. So year over year, there's been a lot of complaints about the Cascadias, and we're gonna bring them up in this video. Number four, I'm actually gonna do a parts comparison, and I've decided to do a parts comparison to the T680 Next Gen. I'm gonna take a few parts from the Freightliners, and I'm gonna compare the exact same parts to the Kenworth. Number five, we're gonna actually call a couple of dealers and ask for their shop rates in order to fix these Cascadias. And number six, we're gonna talk about what it costs to actually finance one of these new trucks. As promised, a full review on the 2025 Freightliner Cascadia, so let's get into it. Purchase price, $165,000 for one of these babies. Now, are these trucks worth $165,000? And how does it compare to the Volvos and the Kenworths? Well, I can honestly say that the Volvos are probably around $185,000, while the Kenworth T680s are approximately $195,000 in the US. Now, if you're in Canada, the prices actually might seem a lot larger. So, for example, a Freightliner Cascadia in Canada is about $230,000, a Volvo is about $245,000, and a Kenworth is about $255,000. Well, in comparison, if you compare the trucks, the price point is actually pretty attractive. Fuel consumption, and they constantly advertise that these trucks are more fuel efficient. Well, let's look at my analytics. I'm gonna show you guys the fuel consumption for the 2025s, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the 2024s, and we're gonna put Freightliner to the test. Now, as you can see right now, the 2025s, I only have 5 of them in my fleet. Here is the fuel consumption from the most fuel efficient truck to the least fuel efficient of the 2025s. So you can see over here that this is actually the stats of the last 30 days. So you can see that the most fuel efficient truck, I'm getting 8.9 miles per gallon, followed by 8.4, followed by 8.4, followed by 8.2, and the least fuel efficient truck is the 7.7 miles per gallon. Now you can also see how many miles they've driven. So for example, this one in the last 30 days, it could very well be that we just received that truck and therefore it only has 4,900 miles. Now the truck after that, you can see unit number 730 has driven 13,200 miles in the last 30 days, and the average fuel mileage is 8.4 miles per gallon. Now let's do the exact same test with the 2024s. You can see here that I have about 13 of them in my fleet. The most fuel efficient truck that I have from the 2024 Cascadias are 8.5 miles per gallon, and the least is 7.3. Now you can see how many miles they've all driven in the last 30 days. So you can see here that the most fuel efficient is at 8.5 miles per gallon. I mean, most of these lie in 8.2, 8.2, 8.1, 8.1. I wish I had another probably 5 or 7 2025s, and I will have in 2 or 3 months, and then I will have enough data in order to say yes, they are 10% more fuel efficient or not. As it looks right now, yes, they are more fuel efficient. Are they 10% more fuel efficient? I don't know. I need a little bit more time and data and analytics. They are fairly new to me. I've only had them for 3 or 4 months now. So I've done multiple polls on why people hate the Cascadias, why people love the Cascadias. There is a common theme that everybody talks about. Number one is the electrical problems. I would say that it's one of the biggest complaints that multiple drivers have, if not hundreds of thousands of drivers that we've had in our polls that complain about that. The sensor failures, so constant sensor issues. Cabin comfort can increase a little bit or do a little bit better job. I think both the Volvos and the T680s have a better comfort than these Freightliners. The build quality, I think that, was also a common complaint of drivers, definitely that we can work on the build quality. Here is your parts comparison. We're gonna take 7 different parts in a Freightliner and compare the prices of the exact same 7 parts in the Kenworth T680. So the first part we're gonna talk about is a full bumper. Now, in order to get a full bumper in a Freightliner Cascadia, that's $986. Now, for the Kenworth T680, you're looking at $5,400. $419. The headlight, $926 on the Freightliner, $2,721 on the Kenworth. The starter, $416 on the Freightliner, $865 on the Kenworth. Brake pads in the front, $134 in the Freightliner, $376 for the Kenworth. Wheel bearing, $63 on the Freightliner, $82 on the Kenworth. Air filter, $123 on the Freightliner, $309 on the Kenworth. The new ignition key is $13.75 on the Freightliner and $40 in the Kenworth T680. Now, the next thing we're gonna discuss is shop rates. So I did an exercise a couple of days ago where I called a couple of shops in California and a couple of shops in Texas. And why don't you hear how my phone call went? Let's call this Freightliner dealership. I was just wondering, what do you guys bill for the your labor rates for the Freightliner Cascadias? 200? 200. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. We are calling Doggett, Freightliner Doggett. All right, so this is in Converse, Texas. Morning, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Good, good. I was just wondering, what are your hourly labor rates over there?
$226.
$226 an hour?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so now that we got the shop rates, we are going to talk about financing one of these trucks. What does it actually cost per month in order to finance this? We said that these trucks are $165,000. I do not recommend for anybody to buy one of these trucks. Well, it's less than $30,000 down. So with $30,000 down, you are going to be financing $135,000. The interest rate right now on brand new units, you should be able to, as a homeowner with really good credit, you should be able to get about 8.5%. And the loan term amount, I would say, is a good 60 months in order to get one of these units. Okay, 60 months, 5 years with the package of the bumper-to-bumper warranty. Basically, 60 months, I mean, your monthly payment is $2,769 is approximately what you would pay for one of these with $30,000 down. So you do have the amortization schedule here. I mean, this link right here, I made it public for everybody, so anyone can play around with it. I'll put the link below. Now, if you do need financing, guys, don't forget that you can use my link that I've created. It's actually in the same link where you request for financing, and this form gets distributed to multiple lenders for them to compete for your business so you can get the most competitive interest rates and financing out there. Well, there you have it, a full review on the 2025 Freightliner Cascadia. Now, if you'd like me to do this for the Volvo or the Kenworths, put the comments down below. If I get enough of them, I'll definitely create it. I'm Ronan, and I'll catch you in my next video.